Hello and welcome. I can't believe we're like at episode 6 of 9 to 5 with Wangari. So welcome, welcome, welcome. As you know, my name's Jackie Wangari. I'm the host of 9 to 5 with Wangari. Today I'm very excited with my guest. This is someone I met online, not that online, guys, professionally, LinkedIn. And yeah, he DM'd me based on my first episode. And we just had a conversation. We started talking and we shared a lot of values around corporates and yeah, how they should be and how they should treat the employees. So I'm really excited. So my guest today is Julian. Julian Macharia. Apart from meeting online, he's a strategy consultant. He actually helps me a lot with content around 9 to 5. Someone I usually just go, hey, Julian, what do you think I should do with this? And he gives me ideas. But I'll give it over to him to introduce himself and tell us a bit more about himself.
Yeah, thanks, Wangari. First, we met professionally on LinkedIn. I DM'd on LinkedIn. Please, you're going to spoil my rep. It was not Tinder. But yeah, so I think I saw the work that you are doing and I was drawn to it because I also have a passion for creating, I think, future companies where everybody is treated with respect. People are allowed to thrive and be the best they can be. So my core background is in communications work and strategy. Though in my line of strategy, a lot of times I've been drawn into how the entire company is working. So a company will come and say, we need a new strategy, we need to refresh. And during my research with the organization, talking to staff members, you realize it's not even the business or the product, it's the team. People aren't happy, systems aren't working. And then that's how I started my journey now, trying to understand what makes one company who may not have a very good product thrive and another one that actually has the stronger product but never seem to take off. And then you realize the power of if your team is not at its best, it doesn't matter what you create at some point, it's not going to work out. Yeah, so that's how I'll spend some time helping organizations enhancing their teams and the team's experience.
Cool. And today we're speaking staff engagement. So let's just get into the topic. What exactly is staff engagement?
Yeah, so I suppose for me, staff engagement is different things together. It starts with the work itself because everyone is in an organization to do something. You've been hired or you're there because you believe in something the organization is doing. So for me, from a non-technical perspective, I think staff engagement is when everyone is performing at their peak and everyone has been placed in the right place. So if you're doing a job you're trained for, a job you're good at, and then you have clarity on what's being done, you're engaged. Because engagement is just where these are people whom you tell them, hey, it's 5 o'clock, we need to go home. And they're saying, give me a minute.
No,
it's okay. I really want to finish this. I really want to see how this pans out. Yeah. And I think a good place to see staff engagement is in sports teams. Yeah. You see athletes that are into it, they live it. Even on off days, they wear the team's uniform.
Yeah.
That's a person who is all their life revolves around that, and that's what the dream, if I may say, worker you want. Where like bees, hence busy bees, because bees is all about providing food for the queen. Doesn't matter, and they will defend to the death, literally. Yeah. So I think for me, staff engagement is when people are fully engrossed in the job at hand, whether it's a commercial entity, civil society, a charity, doesn't matter, given government, but you're engaged because you believe in the work and you feel that you're part of a bigger mission. So you're not doing it for the salary. You're not doing it for your CV. You're doing it because the work is meaningful. So to me, I think that's what staff engagement is.
Okay, cool. That's really interesting. And how do you get staff engagement? How do you get people to be engaged? Is it like, I know when you start an organization, you're pretty pumped.
Yeah.
And then how do you stay with that like energy, that motivation, that engagement?
Yeah. Well, I think I don't think there's one solution for every scenario. However, there's a lot of great studies that have been done. And it's also about learning. Learning, when you see a company where the staff are engaged, it's an opportunity to ask, why are they engaged? And for many of us, whether you're employed or you run a business, maybe there's a time you are working somewhere and you wondered, how come these people are so engaged? What's the driving factor? So there could be multiple reasons. Sometimes staff engagement, So there's someone who, maybe let me take one step back. I think one of the three big pillars people have talked about staff engagement is you need to have purpose.
Purpose?
Meaning people need to know where is all this leading to.
Yeah.
So all this work we are doing, what's the end?
Yeah.
Is it just for making money? Are we changing lives? Is it to create get to Mars? Even that can be a purpose, something.
Yeah.
And people always want a purpose that is kind of higher than them.
Yeah.
Rather than say to make $1 million by December. That's then what?
Exactly.
It's not a very strong motivator. Then the other big piece is clarity. Now, clarity is, I think, perhaps it seems simple, but it's so critical. Now, what I mean by clarity here is clarity of the job. When you come in the morning, do you know what you need to do?
Yeah.
Do you know what's my job? And it seems simple. So people think a job title is your job. It's not.
No.
So I could be maybe the receptionist. Yeah. So the assumption is, what's the receptionist job? You just sit at the front, wait for phone calls, wait for deliveries, wait for inquiries.
And receive.
Okay. But do I know what my role and how it fits into the bigger system? Such that I know when this delivery comes, I need to accelerate it quickly to engineering. I need to accelerate it quickly to accounts because this has an impact on how fast the product goes to market. So do you see your role in the entire system? And then do you know actually how the job is done? That every day I come in, I need to log in certain files. Every day I need to do a report on how many calls we received yesterday. So just first, do I actually know the job? And you find a lot of companies, people come, you join an organization, say, welcome, you're starting today. Okay, you'll be sitting there. Now for starters, Ebu send me a report on this. So no one has actually ever sat down and said,
told
this is the job,
this is your
what
description,
happens.
your roles, responsibilities.
Especially in this kind of service industry jobs. In technical jobs, if you're a pilot, you take
trained.
off, you're trained. So there are standard systems. But in a lot of these great jobs, you're in charge of marketing, you're in charge of digital, you're in charge of, so you find people are struggling. So 3 to 6 months. And I even sit in government, I find MPs being trained on how to make policy like 2 years into the term. So I'm like, so what have they been doing for the last 2 years, you see? Because there's no like formal process that when you're sworn in, maybe the first 3 months, they should go on a boot camp and they're taught how systems work, how to file a motion, how to lobby for something. So it just shows you. Then the last thing now is autonomy.
Autonomy. Wow, that's a big one.
How much space am I given to make decisions? So everyone makes decisions. Even the gardener outside.
Yes, that's so true.
Has to decide, are we clipping the bushes today? Are we mowing the lawn today? Are we washing whatever? Are we cleaning the drainages? So how much autonomy do they have? Or is it that every moment you tell them, go do a task, then come back? Go do a task, then come back. That's a robot. That's automation now. You're looking. But if you're dealing with people want to know, I'm the gardener. Up to these 7 decisions, I'm free to make. The principle I'll be asked about is the garden looking healthy and clean. That's how I get there.
You measure
whether I choose to do it before morning, lunchtime.
Do it just as long as you do it.
Then have you provided the tools for the job? So you've asked me, I want you to be able to, I don't know, do a big event. But I'm alone. So you've not empowered me, you've not given me resources, you've not told me what the event is about, you've not given me the funding perhaps or the team to work with. So I think those are the big 3 things. When you have a purpose helps people stay in an organization. Because you believe in what they're doing. And a good way to know if people, or even if your organization is purposeful, maybe try and ask your team, tell them money has been tight. Will you be willing to work for 3 months with no pay?
Free.
And then we see how it goes. Then you'll know if they actually believe in your business. It's a good indicator. And that's why you find some companies, even with COVID, salaries were cut, but someone stayed. Even if they could get a better job elsewhere, it tells you something about that. Then autonomy, because if someone feels that I always have to ask every step, in a way you invalidate my intelligence, you invalidate my experience, my skills. That means then whoever is the boss or whoever is the leader is the know-it-all. It means we can't, and that does not create a thriving environment, especially if you're looking for top talent. And then do you have the tools? Do you have the clarity on the job? And just to give an example of the clarity on the job, is like where you find maybe, let's say you and I are hired and told both of you are going to be finance accountants. So it's a big company, maybe 4 or 5 products. So who does which accounts? Do you do for the beverage line? I do for the motor vehicle leasing. So it's about saying you're 2 Both of you are equally skilled. However, Wangari is going to handle the consumer business. Julian will handle government and corporate. Then there's clarity. So there's no stepping on each other's toes. We collaborate and there's no competition. But if you bring 10 people and say, you're all accountants, so can you imagine the chaos?
Yeah.
So what ends up happening, if someone, the loudest and the most aggressive will rise to the
Always
top.
wins,
Yet maybe there's someone, an introvert, who is probably the best.
Pretty good,
but because of how you set up the organization, then you have that unhealthy rivalry. So for me, I think staff engagement is about asking yourself, have I done everything I need to provide for this person to thrive? Sorry to use this example, but when you look at a cow, ng'ombe, a cow, they are the known averages of what a cow can produce in terms of liters of milk a day.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you know how much that is? Just random fact.
I think it's. I think local cows are in the 15 to 20 liter range. I think.
Okay.
When you're at a great cow, I think you start talking of 30 liters and beyond, right? So. But you can have a great cow that is giving you local indigenous levels. So instead of giving you your 30 liters, it's giving you your 10, 15 liters.
Yeah.
So you should ask yourself, why is my cow not at its prime?
I love that.
You can write a memo to your cow.
Yeah.
You can increase the working hours.
Yeah.
You can put a biometric system. You can do all these things, but that's not the problem.
That's not the problem.
Yes, what the cow needs, it needs, I know nowadays there's a cow mattress.
Cow mattress.
It needs, I hear they need music. Certain types of music work better. Certain temperatures are better. You have things like that type of feed. You need to brush its coat, clean it. All those things is the same concept of staff engagement. When you provide all those elements, then the cow will give you.
Start producing more milk.
But people use tools and weapons and then expect more production. It doesn't work that way.
I really love that analogy of the cow. It really rings home to me and makes sense a lot.
Do you have cows?
Me, do I have a cow? No, I'm a Kikuyu. I mean, yes, I have cows. I love cows.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get them pillows and the lights and the music. So I ran a poll on my LinkedIn status, and I was just curious, are people actually engaged? So I think about like 110 people voted. So it was like 60 were engaged and motivated, and the rest, like about 40 of them, were just, they're actively disengaged and they're just showing up.
Yeah.
So what does great staff engagement look like? And what do disengaged employees look like as well?
Yeah. Well, I think we've touched on how highly engaged people are. They are very active.
Yeah.
They are proactive.
Yeah.
They're always looking for new ways, and you'll find them even picking up slack. Like if they see a certain department is stretched, they'll throw in a hand.
Hey, let
and
me
say,
help. Yeah.
Is there anything we can do?
Yeah.
So they're all about the common goal. So you realize if as an organization you don't have a purpose, it's very hard for people to help you.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, like, if as an organization you've said we want to help get maybe 10,000 girls to access education, for example. So maybe you have a dashboard in the office and saying, today we're at 6,000.
Yep.
So you're so driven that when we get 10,000, we'll have one. So when you do finish your work, maybe in your department, you can say, oh no, but this team is a bit slow because they're short-staffed. You'll even say, you know what, I'll donate some time because I'm ready. We just want to make it work. But when you see companies that have silos where everyone just minding their business, that's usually when you have disengagement, because also as an organization, you've always told them this is what's important. So people will always gravitate to what you spend time on.
Yeah.
So what I mean, the example I use is that in your household, if every day you come home and you run your finger maybe on the table in your living room to see if it has dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the days you find dust, you really make a scene. Over time, your household will be wiping down that table 3 times a day.
Yeah,
because they realize, this is what, but under the carpet, the bedrooms will be filthy.
Yeah.
Because what you've done, you've made this is the thing that can get you fired. So you find in a company, they'll tell you, we want you here at 8 a.m. So people will come at 8.
8, yeah.
Then once they come, they'll take coffee break or tea, breakfast till 10, do work for 1 hour, take lunch at 12 till 2. Because your issue was you want people in the office at 8, leave at 5.
Yeah.
But you've shifted the focus to the wrong thing. But if you came and said every day, we have a target to get 100 girls in scholarships. That's all I'm going to ask about. Over time, people will
I
realize.
don't care how you do it, what time you do it, how you
Yes,
come in, how you
yes,
dress, like that kind of
absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
Of course, it's not always that simplistic, but the point is, if everyone is clear on the end goal,
Yeah.
then people are driven. And what happens when you clarify your purpose? There are people who may not be interested in your vision.
Yeah, exactly.
This is for
They're like,
entrepreneurs.
yeah, man,
yeah?
this is not my.
Yes, and it's also good for me if I join the company to ask. I know how people in an interview you asked, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Yeah.
You should also ask the interviewer, where do you see yourselves 5 years from now?
Yeah.
So that I can see if our paths
Values.
align. Of course, it's different, especially in Africa, where sometimes you just need any job. But the truth is, usually if you just sometimes take any job and you didn't take some time to think through what's this job about,
Yeah.
how does it tie in with my values, that's when you get disengaged. Because it's more of, you're almost held at ransom. You're there because you have to.
You have to be there.
And what tends to happen?
You have bills to pay.
Your bills to pay, your family to support. And what tends to happen, you start closing up. So you don't do anything that could jeopardize your job. So for you, your goal is to maintain the job, not get girls to school.
Yeah.
Because of the culture, if people are always being threatened and fired, then it appears as long as the boss is happy, so the purpose of that organization becomes survival.
Yeah.
Then you as the owner, you wonder, how come people don't get, are not understanding what we are trying to do?
Yeah.
But every day you keep touching the surface of the table.
And not
so
going
people,
above and beyond.
they'll assume that's what you want. They'll give you more of that.
Okay.
Then disengaged people, by and large, there's some physical things you'll see. Sometimes even just their body language.
Yeah, just their demeanor.
Demeanor. They tend to complain. They tend to be bored. When you ask for ideas,
nothing.
They're just flatlined. Ask for extra help, not interested. Yeah. And those are telltale signs. And sometimes it could be individuals, because also there are people who are not optimized for hard work or for the work that you're doing. So it's about finding out, is this the best use of this person? So I believe everyone has potential.
As men, yep.
And I've seen it over and over where you're working with someone, they are a horrible colleague or employee, they leave the next company, you're saying, what do you mean? Is that Wangari who here we could get her to do one thing on time? Then she goes there and she's just shining.
Yeah.
So what I know is, if you take time, of course, reasonable time with your team, you'll begin to learn one of two things. Either they are a good person, but in the wrong company or in the wrong job, or sometimes, it's just not a fit. And it's better you don't waste each other's time. Just tell them, hey, we've tried all these possibilities, try to see where we can place you. It's still not working. I don't think this job is for you, or this company we are connecting. And I like to even use the reference of, and it doesn't matter the industry, So even if you're in a cartel of drug dealers, you need to believe in the mission. You need to believe in that, whatever it takes for us to own the territory. If you're in government, if you're in a religious institution, you have to at least agree that this philosophy we have, it's in our hearts, it's in our minds. Then as a team, you can overcome any obstacles.
That's so true.
But if you don't believe in it completely, and that's why you find a lot of institutions, especially in government, because there's no unified purpose, even if you take a department like Kenya Police, do they have a shared vision of creating a safe and vibrant society? Maybe not. So that's why it doesn't matter, even if you change the top how much, throughout the system, that belief is not there. So everyone does their thing. You see, now they know their job, they have clarity. They know my job is to arrest, enforce the law. But enforce the law, why? The why is what is not there. They just do it because, hey, it is what it is, And that's where you find a lot of disengagement. You'll find a policeman is called, there's an emergency, and they'll say, the vehicle doesn't have fuel. So that's not someone who is driven to help.
They're not going above and beyond.
Then you'll find a paramedic who will do whatever it takes. Like we've seen with the medical staff, some doing 4 night shifts to take care of children, take care of patients. That's someone who their driving force is way over and above the job itself or the salary. Even our medical services here, what they're paid is not fair relative to the intensity of work, because they believe in
the purpose.
But they're also private doctors. If you don't pay consultation, no one is seeing you. So so that will always exist.
Okay, interesting. Julian, this is super insightful. Thanks for sharing so much. How do you measure staff engagement? Is it like based on the happiness, profits you're making? Like, I'd be interested to know like how staff engagement can be measured. I know they love sending out these surveys, but surveys sometimes you're like, yo man, another survey to fill. let's talk about that.
Wow, I think staff engagement is a tricky one.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the few times I've been involved, for most times I've seen staff engagement as a qualitative process.
Yep.
I think performance management is where you're able to do a bit more hard, but I think it's about talking to the team. And it's about also tracking the sentiment, how people feeling about the organization, how they're feeling about certain things. And it's even simple like doing surveys and even doing things, I think in the HR world, they call them, I think it's called a job audit, where you actually ask questions about the job and let's see how do you understand the job versus what we think. And you look at what's that variance.
Oh, interesting.
And whenever there's a variance, it's not the employee's fault. It's the company that has not been clear enough. So that's one way of doing that. And you have to create for your industry, for the type of organization you're in. And you're looking at multiple things. And you have to also decide as an organization what's important to you. So an example would be, let me look for an unusual example. You're in a religious institution.
Okay.
Maybe you offer relief services, but you also have a faith-based function. So you have to measure how is your work with the faith you believe in. That could be one thing you measure. You could measure the questions and say, beyond the job, what other volunteer work do you do over the weekend? So we are trying to see, are you in this?
And the vision.
Are you in this?
I love that.
So it could be something like that. Then there are other technical things you could just ask and say, like there's a company I do some work with. And I remember the other day, they got someone to do a survey and they're asking us, when you send emails to your boss, how often does he respond? And we would say, some people say we send, it's instant. Other people would say, no, it takes 3 days. So for 3 days, you're in limbo. This is how it affects us. So those are things that all those things together is what impacts staff engagement. So it's really one big thing. Like where we work, there's a leaking roof and, it's windy and dusty. Those are like the environmental factors. But by and large, it's the small things. Tea is only served to certain offices. The rest of us have to walk to the tea station.
That's right.
When we need to go to the bathroom, we allocated boxes of toilet paper. They sound ridiculous,
where
but
have you worked?
No, these things are happening.
Okay.
These things are happening, and not where I've worked, but I know they're happening. And it's so small issues, So when it's home transport, some people are allowed to call a taxi. Other people, you have to use public means. So it's those small nuances that start impacting how people feel. Because I think staff engagement is, what do I think the company thinks of me? Where am I? Where do they place me?
Where do I fit into
how important am I?
puzzle?
Am I just a tool, like a computer or a printer? Or am I there to offer value, to be part of this family? Because you find companies saying, we are a family here. But when things hit the fan is when you realize, some family members are, not everyone is true family, you know? So I think it's about tracking sentiment and sometimes staff engagement. The first line I would recommend is first, just keep an open, it could be as simple as an open questionnaire. It could be a focus group. Just tell people, hey, we feel not everyone is engaged. And want to create a better experience for you guys. What would you like to see in the company? And just get the feedback.
Get feedback,
Then start dealing with them one by one.
That was just beautifully put. Such a great conversation. Please, like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And that's kind of how Julian slid into my DM, and we're now interviewing each other. He definitely has some great insights. Thank you.